The Runner and Gunner Show.
Yeah. Oh, let's do it over there. That's what we're doing now.
We're running and gunning and saying our thoughts, though we have different minds. At the same time, we bring the song to help your mind grow in the mental. Give knowledge with advice plus all essentials. So if you haven't heard, then act like you know. It's the Runner and Gunner Show. Runner and Gunner Show. The Runner and Gunner Show. Gun.
Today was a good day. And that is why
The greatest it can ever be.
we need, or feel the need, to have
Monday
morning sips. Oh, yeah.
Cheers.
Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. I don't know, but today seems kinda odd.
On today's episode of Runner Gunner, we are strictly speaking about a guy named CJ.
CJ Johnson?
CJ.
CJ of Jason Grand Theft Auto?
We're not talking about Johnson, but yes, CJ Johnson is the man we're talking about. And he was the first huge, well, he's actually the seventh huge guy in an installment of many installments of the Grand Theft Auto
series.
series.
Originally for the PlayStation 1
Two.
and the PC.
PS2 is the first one that came out with San Andreas. So we are going to get into the San Andreas
2004
Special.
October release for the PlayStation 2, but it is also remastered in this day and age,
Remastered.
2022. If you don't got it, then you better get it. If you're a Lenny and you were born in 1999, then you better get it now, because
Get
you're
it
too young to play it
today.
when it first came out. But now is the time for you to get Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
San Andreas Remastered. It also comes with a trilogy of games, so it's actually 3 games in one, and it's for the price you pay. It's a great deal, so you guys got to go out there and get it right now as soon as you can, and we will let you guys know much more about this game after
These commercial breaks.
They was watching you on TV raps. What's the haps on the craps? Shake 'em up, shake 'em up, shake 'em up, shake 'em.
What's up, everybody? This is the brand new edition of the Runner and Gunner Show, where we talk exclusively about video games and video game reviews of video games that we play. And since we own all the video games, we're going to review them specifically so you can enjoy the best ones with saving money.
So this is the best season, and you guys got to tune in instantly, and you will hear what we got to say to your ear, which is comforting news about every video game that has just came out, previously came out, and will come out in the future.
Brand new game reviews, brand new game details, and brand new games which to buy so you could save money and not buy what we call not good games.
New. Tired girls to get nude and have a great game.
Have a great day. The Runner and Gunner Show is brand new. We talk about video game reviews only. Video games and rock and roll, that is.
So it's on the Run and Gunner Show on Mondays on Spotify. And we got a special guest with us today, Nick the quick-minded, sick-minded in video games. And
What
he
did
knows
you
everything.
think about Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Nick?
I thought Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was the greatest game out there when it came out. And I remember playing that game specifically 4 hours, all night, and all day. Greatest game. Simply the greatest.
Wow.
And Cheetos! What do you think about his analysis? I agree with Nick's quick-minded thoughts. And I think that he said it the best way it can be said, which is, I played it all night and the next day as well. So he didn't even get a blink of freaking sleep playing this great game, which was one of the greatest games. It came out way back in, 2002?
2004. In
So
October.
this game came out a long time ago, and it was one of the greatest games to ever have hit the airwaves, whether it was, Nintendo, or it was Sega, or it was PlayStation, Sony. and either one had hit. So the first place it had hit was somewhere I do not recall, because I don't recall, because this is how many deep are we in this Grand Theft Auto? No, trilogy. It's not trilogy. It started off as one of 7, right, or something like that.
Yeah, it's like the 10th in the series and like the 7th Grand Theft Auto game.
So we're talking about CJ specifically, though. Today's show is about CJ.
This game is about CJ.
Yeah.
San Andreas is about CJ, and he's the main character. You get to play as him.
And you get to play as him, and you get to go around, and you could do whatever you want. So open world, one of the first open world games that was humongous.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they had all kinds of open world games, and I know a lot of people are going to say there was this, and this, and that. But this was one of the first open world games that was actually violent. And they were getting crazy on this game because it was so violent that everybody was getting kind of angry at the cussing, at the
nudity,
violence, at the kicking ass. You could pull somebody out of the car and start beating on them, and steal their car right after you beat on them and take their money. But see, every one third out of the people, if you actually play the game, 1/3 out of the people had guns. So everybody had guns in that dang game. So how are you going to survive in a world where 1/3? Say you're just walking down the street, every third person has a gun.
Well, every cholo with a bandana on his head in this game had a gun. Like, if you see a cholo with a bandana on his head, rest assured, he's going to fight and he's going to have a gun. You can take his gun and his money.
Exactly.
In Grand Theft Auto, that's what you could do. San Andreas. If you haven't played it, well, there's a remaster version that's coming out for the PlayStation 5.
And that's why we're saying it's the return.
That's why it's the return. Take a swig of Blue Moon right there.
Don't forget those Cheetos.
Hey, don't forget those Cheetos. You got to remember those Cheetos, because they don't count unless it's got those Cheetos.
Those hot Cheetos. The hot ones are the best.
Just like Grand Theft Auto don't count unless you repair the graphics.
We'll see EJ.
Everybody. We're here on the Monday morning show.
Monday morning show.
You're there driving in traffic or not, just listening to the show. We're talking about the review for the San Andreas that was just
remastered,
released
but it was
last week.
Okay, so it was released as a trilogy, but we're just reviewing 1 out of the 3 games because this is the best game out of 3. Pretty much the main reason to buy this game, not the only reason, but the main reason to buy this game would be to play San Andreas. But all 3 of them are great games. I mean, let's not put down all 3 of the games, but right now we're just reviewing the main game, which was
play San Andreas
the last
first.
out of the 3. Yeah, San Andreas was released last out of the 3.
There's 3 of them. San Andreas,
Vice City, and
Part 3.
GTA 3.
Yep. That's if you download the remaster version. But there's also a secret super version that nobody knows about, nobody's talking about. And anybody hasn't said anything. Anybody hasn't said nothing yet.
Super secret.
What is it? I'm going to tell you right here. It is the Nintendo Switch version of the San Andreas game.
The super secrets.
You want to play a game that's awesome and amazing and Omega and megaphones times amplified? Then let me tell you, you got to get the Nintendo Switch version of the San Andreas game that came out.
Hey, but I've heard the PS5 version was awesome.
But there's also the PlayStation 5 version, which renders the most heavily resoluted graphics.
Heavily.
If you're into that kind of thing. But if you're into, Nintendo Switch better, well then San Andreas is a great start.
So,
but it is extremely violent. Kids, the same for you.
Yeah.
You're not going to play it, kids, so don't play it.
Stay away from it, and if it is, it's M-rated, just like Gunnar was saying. So if your kid is under whatever age, like 5, then you better watch him, because if he's 6, then he could go get a gun and just rob somebody and take them out of their car and then have a great time. But don't do that, kids. We're just saying that might happen if you don't have parental discretion on this M-rated game.
Yeah,
and that's what we don't want to happen. It is possible, and it has happened. Yeah. Not in our country, but maybe in a first world country.
Yeah, well, maybe not other countries. It does happen in America because we have online gaming.
And online gaming will save the souls of everybody who roams around wondering, why isn't GTA Trilogy online? Well, guess what, everybody? It is online. So get ready to play one of the greatest games you ever played online, and it's going to kick your butt and kick your mind out of this galaxy. If you don't go play it right now, I guarantee you, you'll be the same.
All
But if you
right,
play it
buddy.
tonight, tomorrow you'll be better.
We're going to come back to this show after these messages right here. But let me tell you, these commercials are going to be funny. They're going to be stupid. They're going to sit there and make you laugh. And there's 20,000 of them.
200
if you just
million.
listen to the Runner and Gunner show. So we're going to pop on this commercial while you listen to the Mac return and eat Cheetos
Hey, did you take my Mac?
after these
Commercial breaks.
commercial breaks.
Well, I don't know.
Go ahead, treat yourself.
Yeah, it is kind of awesome.
For only $3,400, you can have a Mac.
Yes, indeed. Cheers! And we are back here on the Runner Gunner Show. I hope your Monday morning is going well. Hopefully you're avoiding and dodging and ducking all that traffic that is in your way and that is towards you. So just get to where you gotta go safely. But before you get there, you tune in to us because we are here for you right now. And so let's continue on the show what we were talking about, which is
What?
Grand Theft Auto and what did the Beatles do to influence video games? Just video games in general. Did they create a video game or did they create the whole genre? Let's know, Gunner.
All right, so
Gunner's thoughts.
video games were obviously created by the Beatles because the
Beatles.
Beatles inspired music, and music from the 60s is better than anything that's ever came out before. So those video game makers in the 80s used their influences as childhoods, listening to the Beatles, all the albums in completion at the end of the 70s, and then they took that influence in the 80s as 23-year-old men and developed video games and put all that music that inspired them when they were a young kid into this video game, and those video games are the classics that we remember today. But the classics that you remember today, Lenny's, is classics from PlayStation 2. And PlayStation 2 is when, guess what? San Andreas came out.
San
So did
Andreas.
the Beatles inspire San Andreas? Grand
is the
Theft Auto.
biggest question of all. And so it's a huge question and it's a huge responsibility to create Grand Theft Auto all on your own. But Rockstar are the ones that actually... Why do you think they call themselves Rockstar? Who was the biggest rock stars of all? Nobody knows. There is a group called the Beatles that, hey, they were pretty close to Rockstar. So are they the Rockstar? Why did they name themselves after the Beatles? Did they say, hey, should we call ourselves the Beatle Rockstars or just slash the Beatles off of it and call ourselves Rockstars? I think that's what happened. I think one day in a huge meeting, the whole Rockstar committee got together and they said, hey, we could either name ourselves John Lennon, McCartney Lennon, Lennon Cartney, or Rockstar. And so they chose Rockstar. And that's how it all turned out. And everything was great and lovely. But the main thing they were discussing that whole meeting, because I have secret confidential, I got recorders, but I can't tell you about that stuff because I don't want after me. So the thing is, I heard everything in that meeting, and what happened in that meeting is they were like, the Beatles started, video games. The Beatles started every game you could ever start from Pong and below.
Yeah.
And so we were like, I was like, whoa, I'd never heard this before in my life. And the guy kept going on. But the Beatles started everything, so we gotta just step it up a notch. How about we just have a guy snatch a girl out the car, get in the car, and drive as far as he can until he passes so many red lights and hits a cop car. You can pass all the red lights you want, but hit a cop car, and then the cops will start coming after you. Thus, Grand Theft Auto was created. San Andreas! The Godfathers themselves were looking down upon us, and they said thank you for telling them how it was, and thank you very much. From the Vietos.
Los Panchos. Los Trio de los Panchos. They do exist.
There was only 4 men on this
you.
earth that created video games.
4 men on this earth created video games only. And those men are?
John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, George Harrison,
Brian
the
Wilson.
Vietos. The
Mick
best group of all
Jagger.
time, and we love these guys. Don't forget about Mick Jagger, their side group member, and Keith Richards, their side lead guitar member. And there's various side people that help create the genre called video games simply, because at the beginning it was not how big it is right now. It was so simplified and little. But we are talking about how Carl
C.
Johnson killed everybody in San Andreas.
Yep, so Carl's
how did he do it?
Was a player, and she played all these fools, but CJ was also a player. So when he came back in town, that's when Big Smoke and him took it up, along with his sister's boyfriend, and they raised up San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Las Vegas all together.
Los Angeles.
And that is the story of San Andreas. In fact, is there a couple of conclusions in the end of San Andreas? How many conclusions can you get in San Andreas? If anybody out there knows, go ahead, therunnerandgunnershow@gmail.com. Send us an email.
Shouts out to Rockstar.
Email personally, us, your thoughts.
therunnerandgunner@gmail.com. It's so easy. All you have to do is press those little things, which are called fingers, push them against those buttons, and we will linger on to hear every word. Or we won't. Either or, you'll get a response. Either you're cool or you need to go to school.
It is
either or.
Cool, though. You get to go to San Andreas. I mean, you get to Los Santos. You get to go to Las Vegas, and you get to go to San Francisco. All the same little map, but it's huge. Like, the distance that one bike travels to the end of the map is, like, pretty pleasant.
Yeah, it is, and it's a long way, but it's cool.
Yeah.
It's satisfying. You just wish that California was that small, but it's still cool as heck.
Seriously.
But it takes a long time sometimes. It does take a while, but I mean, in real life, it takes a long while, but
it's traffic.
It's so great
on this
without
game,
traffic.
There is no traffic, though.
Well, all you do is cut through the lanes.
Yeah, don't crash anybody. It's not called Grand Crashed Auto.
It's called
Grand Theft Auto.
So take what you take.
And keep what you keep and make an empire. And there's a scene where you actually get a record label.
Oh, yeah.
And you get to and then you make movies and you go to Warner Brothers Studios and you start directing films.
Yeah.
There's actually that part that happens. And so Grand Theft Auto is just simply put the best game
of all
that PlayStation has ever produced.
Switch.
And now it's for the Nintendo Switch. And I've played the PlayStation version, PlayStation 5, and it is just the same problems as it had in PlayStation 1, only the resolution is extremely definite. And, like, it is colorful and vivid, and the graphics are just amazing. But it's still the same problems as PlayStation, like the clicky graphics, the clicky movements, the more like an XY axis movements instead of like a 360 movement. But the Nintendo Switch version does correct that problem by adding this internal 360 system. And if you play the game, you actually see that the mountains are caved over the graphics of what the PlayStation put so that the Nintendo Switch can match it. And the car, if you go upon those moments and graphics, actually steeps over all those graphics in perfect succession.
Yeah.
And so if you get the Nintendo Switch version, you got to experience this 3D world of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
It's so beautiful too.
Yeah.
And the movement is so easy. Everywhere you move your joystick, it's going to go that direction.
Yeah.
And wherever you go, it's going to be so complete. And you guys just got to go out there and get it. And it's not even that cheap, and it's well worth it. Check on, on your Nintendo Switch shops, or check on your local stores, Walmarts, wherever the heck they sell them.
Online. Get it.
But online you could get it, through your local shops.
Digital version.
You can get it through eBay or Amazon, wherever you guys like to shop.
Oh, yeah.
It's always there.
So everybody go ahead and get Grand Theft Auto wherever it is. We're going to take a commercial break.
Quick commercial break right now.
And we'll talk
But
more
we're going to
about...
come back with something special called Neil Young and how does he feel about GTA? We'll talk about that right after these
commercial breaks. Do you ever think of driving your Porsche 195 miles an hour?
Hey everybody, I'm Neil Young and I'm going 180. Oh no, there's a cliff.
This will never happen when you buy a Porsche.
I survived that cliff. Thank you, Porsche. I mean, crack.
Monday morning cracks, everybody. What is up?
Hello,
it is
everybody.
The Neil Young Hour.
It's the
We
Neil
pay
Young
tribute
special, and I
to
just
our
want to say
friend.
that Neil Young is one of the greatest musicians of all times. And in that commercial, I meant no disrespect to him. All I meant was that he can go 180 and survive anything, anywhere. He could take an airplane and do a 180 in the air. You know, he could do a 180 on the streets when there's traffic and flares. You know, anything he wanted to do is for reals, and that's how he is, and that's how things are. We love Neil Young here on the Running Gutter Show.
Yep, he's always been that way. He's always sipped. He's always spoke his mind.
He speaks his mind.
He always said crazy things that people thought were crazy, but were somewhat intelligent. He was always protesting. He's from the 60s.
He's from the 60s.
Oh, what band is he from? Neil Strauss and Young.
Strauss, Ross, Tung Young.
Yeah, so anyways,
So
he came from Tung Young, Strauss, and Ross. And then he formed his own band because he was sick and tired of their 60s-ness. And he started protesting.
So he broke off from that band back in the 60s. He broke off from them, and he became his own solo band, which was great. And he influences such greats as Rick James,
and
Jimi Hendrix,
and
Jimmy Page,
and Kurt Cobain.
Kurt Cobain, and anybody you think of the 70s,
And
80s, and 90s, and currently.
Leonard Skinner. He hated
Yes,
Leonard
indeed.
Skinner.
Him and Leonard Skinner. Well, wait a minute. They kind of collided, to be honest. Him and Leonard Skinner had a little rivalry going on back in the early 70s, something like that.
And
So they had a thing going on.
Like America.
But actually, he loves America. He's
loves
pure
America.
America, and he's pro-shot. I can't say I'm 100% as strong as he feels for the shot, but I could just say that whatever Neil Young does is cool. And he's an okay person. He's a good person.
Alabama,
We would love to have him on the Running Gutter Show.
where
he's cool.
clouds of blue. Sweet
Yeah.
home Alabama.
So he wrote a
Oh,
song
coming home to
about
tell the truth.
that made them sing that song. Actually,
He's
Neil
the
Young
one who made
wrote a
them sing
song
that song.
protesting a reason why the South had a certain thing going on, and I kind of agree a little bit with Neil Young's side. I would reside on Neil Young's side, pretty much, but I'm just a Southern Cali, Los Angeles Mexican guy, and I'm not on any negative or whatever side you're thinking of, because if both sides are negative, then there is one positive, which will become the little Mexican guy from Los Angeles saying that everything can be resolved with a simple handshake or a simple beer. As a matter of fact, maybe even a tequila shot. Things could get better if you solve them that way. And so Neil Young did that throughout his career. He would solve things, and then he would cause more controversy by
He still got
protesting
albums.
things that are not,
Still causing controversy.
in his mind completely.
I remember in the 90s he was causing controversy. Vote for Bill Clinton. Something like that.
Mhm. Vote.
And then it was vote for Bush. Something like that. And then one time he beat some guy down with his guitar that said, stuff it.
Yeah. So, this guy is amazing, and his name is Neil Young, and he just wants you to rock on. He wants you to know that he should not be banned from any kind of internet activities just because of his thoughts and his mind of protest, because he does proclaim that he is part of a certain shot that they are giving out for a certain disease that is going around the world, and everybody in this world is catching that disease. It's a worldwide pandemic that's going on, and Neil Young strongly advises that you take this kind of shot. And then this other guy said, I took the shot 100 times and I don't believe in it, and I still got sick. But Neil Young is an advocate against the people that do not believe in his ways. So what happened was that they all got into a little conversation, and either people stuck with Neil Young or went against him. As a matter of fact, I think Neil Young is cool. I wouldn't go against him, and I'm not saying I stuck or went against, but I'm saying that he has a good rock and roll activity mentality.
Yeah. And isn't he the one who killed Kurt Cobain? I think he was. He was like, it's better to blow out as a candle than to die in the waves of fame. Something like that.
Yeah.
I think the Runner and Gunner version, just right now, we could shake Neil Young.
Yeah, he's cool, man. He's all right, guys.
If he listens to the Runner and Gunner show, which he's got to listen to the Runner and Gunner show.
Listen up.
Because we're talking about him in ways that nobody's ever talked about him before, and that is in 4 minutes. Everybody, we're coming to the end of the show, and we're going to tell you that Neil Young is no longer allowed on Spotify.
Spotify banned.
Except for here on Runner and Gunner show.
Runner and Gunner show,
where
he's
you can
here.
still listen to
On
Neil Young.
Spotify.
If you want to hear this whole song in completion,
If you
can listen to
guys
this
wanna hear
song now.
all you gotta do
We're playing for you.
is get at us on our email at therunningershow.com, and we will show you where to find this Neil Young song personally. But if Neil Young gets at us, then he can perform it for you, and he will only pay you $100.
Yes, and so just like CJ Johnson from the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas series,
Yes, sir.
Neil Young has shone down upon us with his rock and roll spirit of Louis XIV.
Therefore, Neil Young the First shall make the rest dust for his forsaken greatness of music. Though his thoughts of mine may not agree with everybody on the industry of
Yes,
internet sites,
sights of
but his mind is one of the greatest rock and roll minds of all time. So we still accept him as a great.
Yeah,
And
of course
Neil
he is.
Young, come on down when you're ready, man, because we are ready for you from day one. We know you're about to be 101 tomorrow, or 71, or whatever age you are, but you could kick anyone's butts. Whatever age you are, mentally, par for par, bar for bar, kick their butts.
Keep on doing it, baby. That's all you gotta do is just keep on doing it.
So rock
Walk
on.
the mile. Heck, it's only 38 miles. Why can't you just walk the gunner?
Walk together. So what he did was,
Why don't you walk?
they
Why
kicked
don't
him out.
you walk?
His beliefs were so strong. Like, it's so sad because everybody, this is the free world. Just like Neil Young is saying, it is the free world, and we are supposed to be allowed to have our own free thoughts. And they try to desecrate you for having your own free thoughts sometimes, but they do it in a different way. So they're like, hey, you're humongous. We're gonna take all your stuff off of this site. Or we're gonna, you're big, and we're gonna take all your money off this site. But he's still doing the damn thing on the other site. Anyways, we're gonna let you know.
They desecrate you for your thoughts,
how
but
you
here
could
at the
raise
Runner and
more.
Gunner show, guess what? We do not desecrate you for your thoughts.
We don't desecrate
and
anything.
most exclusively of all, we talk about video games, which have no discrimination.
Never
you either
have,
like
never
them
did.
or you don't, but they're all the same. Just little lights that flash in front of the screen that we like, and we love to play them because
it.
they're fun. You play them, you beat people up. You don't want to beat people up in real life
Yeah.
because then blood and guts, and it's disgusting, and you
And
might have
jail
blood and
time.
guts in yourself, and nobody wants that. But if you play in a little video game, you get to outlive the chaos that happened
in the
before
real
us.
world. And so now we're going to lead you guys to the best part of the show we call
The 2-Minute Rundown!
And
That's
now,
what it's called.
All right.
The 2-Minute Rundown.
get ready for the
What is
Super
it?
Bowl.
What is
Los
it all
Angeles.
about?
Everybody in Los Angeles, get ready for the Super Bowl.
Get
the
ready for
Super
the
Bowl
Los
is
Angeles,
coming.
Los Angeles. Be
Get
humble.
ready. And the Rams
Sit
are
down.
playing. Your home team, the Rams. I don't know who you're
Be
cheering for,
humble.
but the Rams are coming.
Sit
and they're
down.
playing. And they're going to be in the Super Bowl. So,
Bengals, the electrolytes. We know who's going to be in the Super Bowl. All we do know is that movies are about to be getting released.
New movies.
Spider-Man was just the beginning. Things are going to start happening right this minute.
Everything's getting better and things are improving.
San Andreas was the greatest game. If you are if you were born in 1999 and you were like 23 right now, then you go ahead and buy the new remastered edition of Grand Theft Auto. I give it a total definitely thumbs up.
3 million thumbs up.
To which I've just played recently, the original version, but I didn't play it on PlayStation 1. But I did play it recently
on the PS5, and it was not as great as it was. It should have been better, but now we got to just tell you guys that
edition is different. It's a better game. It's a better version. They fix things, especially on the Nintendo Switch version.
Yeah.
And it's a well-balanced game that's coming to the future, which we should have got it now in the first place. Games like this should be made now. So everybody, get your copy of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, the remastered edition, which comes with part 3, part San Andreas, and part Vice City. 80s music, baby.
That's the great stuff you could ever have. And everybody, we just want you to drive on home and get home safe, get to work, and back safe on your beautiful Monday.
Get back to work. And also, basketball is going, right? What should we do about it? Lakers are still there. Remember, you thought they were going to be there by this time, but they are still there today.
They're hanging on. So hopefully LeBron could mentor this whole team and take us back to where we need to go, which is the NBA championship. It's a long road, but we're gonna come close. Trust me, we're gonna get in there.
And also next week, also when the Runner and Gunner comes back, we're gonna be talking about more video games. And we're gonna be having more illegal music. Not illegal to us, because this is basically a home video
everything
to you, our family.
That they need.
Thank you, family. I love you. Let you become what I have become right now, so that you could be great and we could all live in justice and harmony, because it's so much better to do this. And then you play video games, and all these San Andreas video games are coming out. We're going to be talking about them each and every week.
And we want everybody to be awesome out there. Yeah. And we want everybody to drive safe out there and just enjoy yourselves and have a beautiful week and a wonderful Monday from Runner and Gunner.
Runner and Gunner, I love you. I love you.
Dang, I can't believe that food didn't have a pack. I've drank a beer with that food before. This guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's a bitch.
Yeah.
He's not tattoo face guy. Tattoo face, I don't even talk to him.
Solid.
Runner Gunner, not responsible for any injuries, postponements, or collateral that may occur during or post segments of our entirety of the show. You are now or have been listening to. We would like to add any involvement with similar subjects in the show are completely coincidental and may or may not be facts. We would also like to thank you, Lennox.
Solid.
Runner Gunner, not responsible for any injuries, postponements, or collateral that may occur during or post segments of our entirety of the show. You are now or have been listening to. We would like to add any involvement with similar subjects in the show are completely coincidental and may or may not be facts. We would also like to thank you, Lennox.